Hello and happy Sunday fun day, everyone who is joining me live. I hope that you all can hear me and see me fine. If not, let me know in the comments below, and I will make any adjustments so you guys can hear and see me fine and perfectly well. So today is gratitude sessions. Is inspired by one of my particular topics, because it's one of my favorite topics to talk about is gratitude, obviously. But I've noticed on my website, if you guys haven't been to my website, you guys can definitely check it out. Hi Laura, website is hillispew.com, just like my name. And I've noticed that a lot of people search for I'm sorry or forgiveness, and the primary discussion of this topic is the phrase is I'm sorry versus forgive me, and that is a lot because of how we determine when to use it, how to use it, what's right and what isn't, and what feels most authentic, right? So Laura, can you hear me okay? Can you see me fine? Just want to make sure that everything's streaming well before I keep going here. So just type in yes if you can. Hear me fine, because I'm outside and there's a lot of AC units going on around me. Just keeping everything all nice and cool here in Brooklyn, New York. But anyway, I just want to read you an excerpt of a blog entry that I wrote titled I'm Sorry versus Forgive Me, which was the inspiration for today's topic, and which I find a lot of people are looking for. So that rang to me, this is something that a lot of people need to know about, a lot of things that people need to discuss. So what I'm going to read to you is just a quick entry from the blog, and it says, is there truly a difference in saying I'm sorry or forgive me? When we say one or the other, we are apologizing for an act we have performed, hurting or wronging someone. When we stop in that moment to acknowledge them, expressing our sympathy, usually we wait for one to accept our apology before we can move forward in our day. If one does not accept our apology, then we feel saddened or hurt, especially if the apology comes from a sincere place. When then the emotional vibration moves to a place or feeling of grateful or being unforgiven, the person usually is left by holding a grudge or like feelings toward them until it's resolved. It is not up to the person who we've hurt or wronged to us give us their blessing. It is up to us to bless ourselves. So, hey Kamaya. So, the inspiration for that is I'm sorry versus I forgive me, because we live in a society where we are always stepping on somebody, where we are always trying to get past somebody, or we feel that we always have to be politically correct with someone. And if we want to not I can't find the word, but if we don't want to offend anyone, we always do an action. And if we take this action, then we have to say, I'm sorry, as like, okay, not, I did this, but I don't want to offend you because I did it. And to me, that's, not being your authentic self. That's not, living up to you, who you truly are. So, I'm going to break this down in two segments. So I'm going to first start off by breaking down the phrase that we use every day. I know I use it and become more aware when I use it. It's the phrase, I'm sorry. So what does that truly mean? I'm sorry. Now, we can just say I'm sorry just from bumping into someone, or, just recently I was in Vancouver, Canada, and it's like a cultural thing there. Everyone there in Vancouver, or maybe it's just a Canadian thing, is that they always say, I'm sorry. Like, you can, just walk next to somebody and they say, I'm sorry. And to me, that's, why are you really saying I'm sorry? Is that, why are you saying it? What's the premise? Or do you feel like you offended someone? So I'm reading comments below. So I want to hear some of you guys' thoughts and ideas about why do you use the phrase I'm sorry? Is it as a disclaimer for an act that you've committed? Or is it just something out of habit? It has becoming saying I'm sorry, has it become habitual for you guys? Thank you, Linda. Hey, Robin. Thank you guys for popping into my long time no stream. It's been a long time since I've done a Facebook Live. But yeah, so I want to hear from you guys. Hey, Allison. So I want to hear from you guys. How do you use the phrase I'm sorry? I mean, do you use it as a disclaimer? Do you use it as like a precursor to something that you're about to do that may offend someone? It's like, I'm sorry, but I have to do this, or I'm sorry because this happened. Let me know, because this is why we have to really figure out what do we use each and every single day in our lives, right? We have to make sure that we have to feel authentic in what we do and what we say, right? So, while I'm waiting for everyone to share, because that's what I want you guys. I want you guys to share instances of when you feel you've used I'm sorry. Hey, thinking that we are preconditions. Amazing. Yes, and I like that. Come on, it's really interesting because we have been preconditioned, especially if you live here now in Brooklyn. It's like no one here says I'm sorry. They just quietly say I'm sorry or quietly says excuse me, and you're lucky if you get that half the time. But yeah, we have definitely been preconditioned to saying that, to where we feel like, okay, it's like being politically correct not to offend anyone. And Linda, that's correct also. I like what you said about, if someone's going through a hard time, it's like we have to express sympathy for them. But in that regard, when someone's going through a hard time, what I initially do is send them love. It's like, I understand, instead of saying I'm sorry, because I'm sorry sounds like, okay, if it's, everyone's different. But if you say I'm sorry, and if you know that person, then they may feel that you're genuine. But if you have no relationship or no rapport with that individual and you say I'm sorry, then they may feel like it's disingenuous, that you're just saying I'm sorry just because. So instead you may say, oh, I understand. If you do have a true connection to that experience that the other individuals have, then yeah, you can say I do understand what you're going through. I do understand what you are experiencing. I am sorry, man. Yes, exactly, Robin. That's a good one too. But just want to take it a step further, because if you guys are just tuning in, at the end of that little paragraph that I was reading, and I'll read it again just so you guys can really tune in and clarify it. At the end of the paragraph of the blog that I wrote, I'm sorry versus forgive me, I said, it is not up to the person who we have wronged or hurt to give us their blessing. It is up to us to give a blessing to self. So what does that really say, or what does that really mean? Hey, Carrie. So what does that say? So in order for us to move on, in order for us to move forward, we really have to forgive, basically forgive ourselves. We have to understand where we're going and what we're doing in order to allow that being I'm sorry to be enough for us, not for the other person. Because when we sometimes say I'm sorry to another individual, sometimes we say I'm sorry with some form of expectation. And that's where most of us get lost and confused and even hurt and emotionally damaged, and try to sever that relationship with that individual just because we didn't receive the expectation that we wanted to receive. And that's what generally everything's all about, is reciprocal situation, to where we always allow our soul to put out some sort of expectation of words that we say, actions that we take, and sometimes even thoughts, and putting people in positions to where we allow for us to set an expectation. But when we set that expectation, what generally happens if we are not authentic with the expectation that we set? We end up getting hurt. We end up getting upset and angry. And for what? Because of the expectation that we set and we put on someone else. So when we say I'm sorry, are we setting an expectation? Are we putting that energy on someone else and not taking responsibility for our own energy that we put out there on someone else? Because that's generally what it is. When we say the words I'm sorry, it's, comes from either an unauthentic place or just for lack of a better term. I'm not saying that when you say I'm sorry, you're not feeling authentic, but sometimes it may come off like that, especially if you don't have a genuine connection to that individual. So we really have to stop and think about the words that we say, and really stop and think about the situation that we're in before we utter those words to certain individuals, to make sure that we do truly come from an authentic place. So, before I go on to the next topic and next phrase, forgive me, and break it down for you guys, I want to know, first I want to thank you guys for tuning in this Sunday afternoon, and I'm outside in Brooklyn to where it's like 90 degrees outside, but I'm in the shade, so it doesn't feel so bad. So I want to know what questions you guys have, any concerns that you feel that you may want to address about the phrase, I'm sorry. Because, being, as Kamaya put it so eloquently, being preconditioned to say those words and not to step on anyone or to offend anyone, we always use it as a precursor or a disclaimer to actions or words that we may say, just so, hey, I'm sorry, but I have to do this, or just to put ourselves in the clear and not take that responsibility of or ownership of what's to come after or before, right? You guys with me on this one so far? So if you guys are with me so far, type in a quick yes, and I will just keep moving forward, because this is a doozy of a topic. And for those of you that are just popping in, and give you the quick reason why this has come up, is I've noticed on my website is that I get a lot of traffic for this particular blog entry called I'm Sorry versus Forgive Me. And that's why I feel it's important to talk about today. And, hence the reason why I'm talking about it now, because I feel it's just so needed in the world right now for us to really understand the energy that we put out there, because it's all about energy. And thank you guys so much for responding. I really appreciate it so much, to give you all my love to my loyal followers. And just so you guys know that this entry, I'm Sorry versus Forgive Me, is on my blog, hillispew.com. You can go in and Google it, find it, easy to find. And there's more to talk about in my book that is out now on Amazon, Awaken with Gratitude. So you guys can go out and purchase that now on Amazon. And I'm just going to keep things moving. So, the phrase, forgive me. Now, I want you guys to take a moment. Thank you, Carrie. I want you guys to take a moment here and now and say, I'm sorry and forgive me. To yourself, out loud, wherever you are. I want you guys to take that moment and say those two phrases back to back. I'm sorry and forgive me. And I want you to experience the feeling and the difference of the vibration in the words that you speak in those two phrases. I want you guys to feel the difference in the vibration of those words. And I want you guys, if you feel it, to type it. And I want to see what you guys feel, because there's a humongous feeling between I'm sorry and forgive me. Right? So I'm going to take a moment and let you guys experience that. Feel it out for a little bit. And thank you, Carrie, for putting that information out there. You guys can also go to my Facebook page, and you guys also click on the notifications, so you guys can get notified anytime when I go live, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of these now that my schedule is not as crazy. Hey Gia. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Brenda. Yes, you feel the difference in the words. So, I'm going to break down the phrase, forgive me. And when we say, forgive me, that often comes from a place of knowing that we have committed an act, being fully aware of the act that we have committed, the act that we have done, knowing, and that's the key point here, people, knowing that we hurt someone, that we wrong someone, and with us really tuning into that vibration of something that we are knowing that we have done, it is more authentic, and it's more, it goes deeper than just on the surface. There's a genuine connection to the words forgive me, that I'm sorry. And when we say forgive me, we step into a place of owning what we've done and owning what we have said. Because generally when we watch the news and when we see, people out there tweeting and, posting things randomly on Facebook about just stuff that's probably who they really are and probably their true feelings and expressions of who they are as a person. But yet, when the Twitterverse or Facebook land and everyone gets all up in the uproar and gets all upset about because someone tweeted something that was a full, authentic expression of themselves, they have to go back and retract and say, I'm sorry. Not too many people have that. Not too many people have that authentic feeling because they say, I'm sorry. When we have to go back and retract. And retract what was said and done by saying those two words, I'm sorry. It's a lower vibration. It's not authentic. It's not really who they are. So when we say forgive me, it's like, yeah, I did it. I own up to it. It's my bad. I'm only human. And basically that's what forgive me is. It's owning up to what we said, what we done in the authentic vibration. So yes, no, it's fine, Julian. Thank you for tuning in. So you guys with me? Are you guys feeling that authenticity of the phrase forgive me? Because that's what it really comes down to, is being authentic. And your self-expression, it's about being authentic in where you are. It's about being authentic in what you want to do. And it's, not apologizing. And if you do apologize, make it a good, authentic one. Make sure that it's sincere, that it comes from the heart. I think lots of people don't want to admit that. Yes, exactly. Because we live in a place where everything is so PC, politically correct, and everyone's afraid to offend everyone else. So we have to make sure that we're not offending or hurting anyone by the words or actions that are spoken or taken. Because it's like, oh, so-and-so hurt me. Well, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, there was no such things as being I'm sorry, no such things as forgive me. Everything was deliberate. Everything was done purposely. And even to this day, there are things in my life and other people's lives that I know to where, it's about being, owning what you do and what you say. It's about living up to your own self-expectations. And I'm glad you brought that up, Gia. I'm glad you brought that up. Because when we talk about authenticity and creating what we want, we have to do it deliberately. We have to do it on purpose. And it goes back to the phrase forgive me. Forgive me goes back to we knowingly done something to hurt somebody else. We've knowingly done something to speak harm and ill will upon someone else. When we take that and then we take it into the law of attraction. I'm going someplace different with this, people. Thank you, Gina, for that. Because we have to become more deliberate, more aware in what it is in which we choose to create in our everyday. And the words that we speak is the energy in which we create every single day. The words and the energy and the thoughts and emotions and feelings and all this abundance of energy that's tied into one another creates our everyday. So, when we take our next actions, when we think our next thoughts, when we speak our next words, we have to really, really, really think about it. Because what we say, think, and feel goes out into the universe and it comes back, right? It comes back in different ways. It comes back in the energy in which we put out there. And one of the things that always stuck with me for a while, especially on my journey of law of attraction, my journey of oneness, my spiritual path, is that Oprah said, and I love this for her for saying this, is that be responsible for the energy that you bring to me. Say that one more time. Be responsible for the energy that you bring to me. I'm going to let that soak in a little bit, people, because that's a lot. You really have to stop and think about what it means to be responsible for your own personal energy that you bring into someone else's space, right? Because if someone has a calm, peaceful, relaxed, vibing energy, right? Then you come into their world, into their universe, and you have all this calamity and all this chaos and all this disorganization going on, and you bring that into someone else's world, right? How do you think the two are going to mesh, right? They're not. Somehow, some way they'll find balance. Somehow, some way they will find a way to mesh together, but not right away. It will take time for that disharmony in those two energies to find balance. Just like in the world that we live in today, right? Everything that's going on, and I try my best to pay no attention to the news. To pay no attention to the news. Because there's so much disharmony out there, and those who follow my Facebook page, those who follows me, know that I'm a big Abraham fan. And there's one thing that Abraham said to me, that they speak, which is very powerful, and I will say this now, because most of us really have to let it sink in to really understand what is happening in the world is meant to happen in a sense. With all the Black Lives Matters movement, with the election that's going on, and I'm trying not to get caught up in all of that. But this is another reason why I brought the subject up, is I'm sorry versus forgive me. It's the vibrational difference in those two phrases, right? And what it's saying is that we have to have contrast. We have to have that level of contrast to create the lives that we truly want. We have to see the world. We have to see our personal experience in the way and the vibration of what it is that we dislike the most. Okay? We have to see what we want. We have to see what we don't want the most to truly appreciate and understand and have gratitude and appreciation and love for what we truly desire in our lives. So when we are in vibrational alignment with our truest desires, only then will it show up, and only then will we be able to appreciate it for what it truly is. And by this, we can truly appreciate it for what it really is. Correct? Correct. I'm going to stop for a minute to go back and read some amazing posts, because I see you guys are putting up some amazing things up here. Yes, Ken, that's exactly damn human DNA. But you know what? If you can, there's this other entity called Cryon that I follow a lot. He actually posted a few things about DNA and how it really works in the human body and how we are really connected to it, and how our aura is connected to our DNA. So that's really interesting. So look up Cryon and type in DNA, or maybe just go to his page on YouTube. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Yes, Carrie, I love that you reposted that as a reminder for everyone. Robin, we are love, so if we are things. Yes, exactly, Robin. I do appreciate that. So, we are love. So if we are authentic, we will not have anything to forgive. Exactly. Robin, I'm going to go in a little bit deeper on that, because that one's just amazing. So if we are in a place of genuine giving love and in a place of just loving ourselves. And that's the biggest point, loving ourselves. If we love and accept ourselves where we are and as we are and what we are experiencing in our life, then we will only attract the same kind. We will only attract the same like. We will only attract what's in our vibrational alignment. So if we are genuinely caring and loving and just in a place of just allowing to the manifestations of which we create, then there will be nothing to forgive, right? But meditating under a tree, young man interrupts and doesn't get what was. Yes, exactly. So, and there's also a key to that too, Robin, about meditation. And I would give this to you on my little secret about meditating. And I know most of us know this, but sometimes we don't practice it. Is that when we are able to focus on our breath, the inhalation and the exhalation, no matter if it's in the nose, out the mouth, whatever you feel comfortable with. When we focus on that breath, and then if we are outside like I am now, and there's a bunch of AC units going on around me, what I do is I tune in to one particular frequency, to one particular sound, and then I let that sound be included in my meditation. Whether if it's cars driving down the street or people talking, whatever it is, I find something in the distance or something nearby that I can focus my attention on while in my meditation to allow that to take me deeper in the meditation. And yes, Jade, I'm so happy that you are here tuning in because I know you follow me all the time. And I think this is why I like Facebook Live better than Periscope, because I get to really actually engage with those who already know me, those who are already familiar with my work. And yes, Crayon is amazing. So I don't know if there's really much else to really talk about. I expected this to go a little bit longer because I like to talk and I like to just really make sure that everyone is clear. And so those of you that are just joining, be sure to catch the whole live stream, and I will repost this on my YouTube page, which you can find on my website, hillispew.com. And if you just go under the section where it says inspirational interviews, there you will find all my Facebook live streams and pretty much almost all of my old Periscopes. So if you guys need to revisit some things, it's all up there for you. And if you need to revisit even more, you guys can also check out my new book, Awaken with Gratitude. It's on Amazon and Kindle now, so get your copy today. You can find that information on my website as well. The first page on my website, hillispew.com, will take you right there. But before I go, I want to make sure that those who are just tuning in and those who stayed with me, I want to make sure that you guys, if there are any questions or if there's any clarification, and the phrases "I'm sorry" versus "forgive me." And while I'm waiting to see if there's any questions, I'm just going to do a quick recap of the phrases "I'm sorry" versus "forgive me," and just to let you guys know that the words "I'm sorry" is a lower vibrating frequency. It's not as authentic, and it doesn't resonate a lot with others. It's more of a conditioning. It's more of it's more as a disclaimer. It's more of just as a precursor. Just before I do anything bad, I'm sorry for my actions and the words and my thoughts that I'm about to take. As opposed to forgive me, it's a higher vibrating frequency, and you are taking responsibility and ownership for what you have done. And when we are authentic and when we truly vibrate with who we are, then there's truly nothing, as Robin put it earlier, there's truly nothing to forgive when we are operating on a frequency of love. And we operate on a frequency of love, all is forgiven before it even happens. Because we know and understand, in order for us to truly be a match to what we manifest and create in our lives, there has to be contrast. And sometimes that contrast comes up in ways that we least expect it, or times when we don't even want it to happen, but it just shows itself when we are ready to move forward from that particular lesson. So, guys, if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to go back inside in my air-conditioned apartment and get off this balcony because it's starting to get a little steamy out here. But I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. I do appreciate all you guys for the comments and the love. But I think there's a question coming. I don't know. But if not, I will definitely be checking in on this particular stream to see if there's any questions, and I will be answering questions after this. So if there are any questions now, be sure to type them up later, and you guys can definitely go there to read the questions. And what I'm going to do later, so you guys can read the full blog in its entirety, I'm going to repost the name of the blog on the bottom of the comments here. And don't forget to visit HealersPrew.com to check out more of the blog entries there, to check out my new book, Awaken with Gratitude, available on Amazon and Kindle. And also click on the top left corner of your screen there to get a live notification when I go live. So you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have an awesome week, and I will talk to you guys later.